Welcome! My name is Orazio DeCisi in the SCA, Ricky Fink. If you find me on Facebook, I use he, him pronouns. If there's any part that you're going to remember, it's just that last one. And then you can ask me my names as many times as you need. I am the current Baron of Bryn Gwlad. You don't need to know what that means. We'll get to it. But thank you all so much for coming out to our SCA 101 class. Before we get going, wanted to point out a couple people that are also involved with helping out our newcomers and that kind of stuff. So first, I wanted to introduce Twahal. So he is our Kingdom Hospitaller. So he is over all of the Texas and Oklahoma recruiting and retention. Next is Colfina. She is my partner in crime as the Baroness of Bryn Gwlad. And then finally, we have Vash, who is a member of our Newcomers Academy Committee. So, yes. Yes. So. Oh, I didn't remember if you were. Nope. I didn't know if you had switched out of it as the kingdom. Okay. So, and then also, I apologize, Sigrun. Sigrun, who is also a member of our Newcomers Academy Committee. Twill is also a member of the Newcomers Academy Committee. I know he's trying to get out of it because he's got a big old job right now at the regional level. Yeah. So if you have questions or anything during the presentation, by all means, raise your hand, let it rip. Don't need to like hold it till question and answer. So we can just kind of move through it.
For the recording, because we're recording it so we can upload it later, if you, Orazio,
can repeat questions, I will repeat. Perfect. So, all right. So if people are comfortable with it, I'd like to quickly go around for each of our newcomers or people that are newcomers at heart and get names just so that we can get to know each other. As you are comfortable, if we can start on this side and you'd like to give us your name and pronouns.
I'm Kat. Pronoun is Faye. I've been in dance since I was 12. Thank you.
Okay.
Scrabble, fencing, Bardic, a little bit of dancing, a little bit of everything.
Awesome. Thank you, Kat. So.
Oh, great. Here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm Darla.
Okay. Welcome, Darla.
In the 80s, I was Daenerys. I have more of a name and I can't remember all of it properly, so I'm not going to try to embarrass myself and say it.
Would you like us to call you Damaris for now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Perfect. Welcome, Damaris. Thank you so much. Oh, yeah. She heard? Okay, thank you. Jade?
Jade is still a newcomer. Don't have an SCA name yet, so she did.
Awesome. Thank you. And then we also have Sarah. Thank you so much for joining us. Cool. So let me jump into it. So, welcome to Bryn Gwlad. Bryn Gwlad is the name of our local group. It basically is the greater Austin area. It is Welsh, and a very bad translation of it. That means the sovereign state of Hill when they were trying to call it Hill Country. So we weren't very good at languages back then, and we've gotten better. So we realized that we made a mistake, but we're stuck with it.
What would it be if it was properly translated?
That is a great question that I do not know the answer to. So, what is the SCA?
I would look that up.
Awesome. So the SCA is a historical recreationist group, or if you want to just say it easily, we are a LARP. We are a historical live action role-playing group. That does not mean that you have to be in character all the time. What that means for the SCA is that we typically all have an SCA name that we will call each other, which is why I introduced myself as Orazio, because most of the people here mainly know me by Orazio. But we do pre-1600s history, and that marker is really just to say no guns. We don't do black powder of any kind because the insurance is super expensive, and so that's where we made the cutoff. It exists in period, but we don't do it. So the SCA started being very focused on Western Europe. However, it has expanded, gratefully so, and is now anything pre-1600s continue to go back as far as you want, and anything in the world. So we have people that are doing Far East personas. We have people that are doing New World personas, Nahuatl, Aztec, those sort of things. So really have expanded out. You can go down any rabbit hole that you want to. Also, a thing that I really want to focus on is that we recreate history as we wish it had been. And so for the most part, the SCA steers away from doing any sort of recreations of religious orders or anything that could make people feel excluded. We want everyone to be able to play. And so don't do anything where it's, oh, well, women wouldn't be allowed to do that in period, so they can't. No. You can explore whatever you want to. You can have whatever persona you want to. And it's really just to study, recreate, enjoy together, teach our friends, and really pursue anything that you want to from period. And that's all in pursuit of kind of creating that perfect immersive moment. And we'll kind of come back to it, but we call it the dream. So I'll leave that as a little teaser. So, all right. So how did the SCA start? A little louder? Perfect. Okay. So luckily, SCA.org has a great little teaser, and so I'm just going to use it because every time I try and do it from notes, I stumble across it. So SCA started in 1966 when a bunch of nerds from Berkeley decided that they wanted to host an outdoor party and host a tournament. And so they sent out a summons for all knights to defend in single combat the title of fairest for their ladies. And they had a grand old time putting buckets on their heads and wearing carpet on their bodies and hitting each other with broomsticks. And so they had so much fun, they decided they should do it again, but in a larger setting. They wanted to rent out a public pavilion. And so the local municipality said, we need to have your group's name. And with anachronisms being a thing out of place and time, they thought it would be real funny to call the group the Society for Creative Anachronisms. And then they got stuck with it. And so that is why the SCA is the SCA. Because somebody had a funny in the 1960s. So from there, after a couple tournaments locally, word spread through friends, through the sci-fi community, through cons, and kind of continued to grow. There were 6 events held in the first year, 9 in the second, and in the third, there was a chapter founded on the East Coast, where they called themselves the East Kingdom to separate themselves from the West Kingdom. And so from there, the Californians made us a nonprofit so that we could be all official. And since then, the SCA has expanded to over 30,000 paid members, expected around like 60,000 participants altogether, across 19 kingdoms in the US, Canada, Europe, Asia, South Africa, and Australia. So the SCA is quite the international organization. So where did we get our start? The lands of Onsteora, which is Texas and Oklahoma minus El Paso, because it would take them forever to come play with us. So they play with New Mexico and Colorado. But we started out as what was called a principality to another kingdom. Until we could get going, we had a couple groups started. First one was Stargate in the Houston area, and then the Barony of the Steppes in the Dallas area.
What's this?
So this was good question. So the first events in what would become Onsteora were in 1972 in Houston. And then in 1973 in Dallas, and then continued to grow throughout the 70s until in 1977, Oster said, we've had enough of being underneath Atenveldt, and was stood up as its own kingdom. And then our local group, the Barony of Bryn Gwlad, was recognized as a barony in its own right on May 12th, 1979. 1979. So, any questions before I move on? All right. So how does the SCA function? So, like I said, there are two pillars to the SCA. As I said, I am the Baron of Bryn Gwlad. That does not mean I am in charge. The Baron and Baroness, we are the landed nobility. So we hold the lands of Bryn Gwlad in fief to the crown. And we're here to help drive the game forward. We, are here so that people can feel that feudal structure and community, and we get the pleasure of awarding people for their successes and spotlighting all that, and then helping the group find cohesion. Separate from that, there is someone called the Seneschal. The Seneschal is the group president. So they, along with our exchequer, who's our treasurer, and a few others, drive, like they are the ones who sign the checks, sign the any official documents that we need to do. And so they tell us what we can and can't do. We also have a slew of other officers that help with all kinds of activities, from our various fighting or martial art activities, our arts and sciences, the heraldry for our local groups, helping you figure out what your name and what your device might look like. So all these various ones, and each of those officers are fully responsible for their section of the game locally. So what all can you do in the SCA? Again, anything from pre-1600s, there's somebody doing it. So if I were to break it down into three main categories, there is the fighting activities or martial art. We have three main buckets for that. There is rapier or steel combat, which is done with live steel with blunted tips, and sorry, my brain just decided to do a thing. So it's done with live steel, has lower armor requirements, and also does lower calibration of hits. There is another form on that called cut and thrust, which rapier, you are only allowed to poke. You only do the thrust. You can also do like draw cuts, but there's no percussives. Cut and thrust allows you to add percussive hits. Again, still the calibration for the actual pressure applied is dialed way back. But so those are that's steel combat, rapier combat writ large. The second is chivalric or heavy combat. This is trying to recreate those knights in shining armor, that medieval combat. So they are wearing 16 gauge steel helms and have either heavy leather or plastic or metal armor to protect their midsection, to protect their joints. And they are throwing shots that are supposed to have the amount of pressure that would be required to get through an opponent's armor. But they're doing it with rattan, which is a solid bamboo, so that when it fails, instead of if it were a stick where it would become a spike, it becomes a brew. So the longer you use it, the more and more it pulps, and it's actually harder to hit hard as it goes than it is to continue. Yes?
That's what I'm familiar with. That's the era I played.
Yeah.
In the 80s, that's all they had.
Yeah, so it's definitely been a journey to get to where we are. Onstiora is actually the birthplace of rapier combat, and so we have a long history with that. And then I saw a couple other hands. So Sigrun, do you have?
I know with chivalric, you can poke if you have a thrusting tip on your weapons, and only then. But in C&T, do you poke with that as well, or is it just the?
Yeah, so for C&T, the blades are still blunted at the end, and so you can still stab as well as doing the percussive hits. And to repeat what Sigrun said, she was saying that in the chivalric combat, they do have thrusting tips that you can add to the end of your blades. To expand on that, in chivalric, it is not just sword and shield. They have spears and glaives and maces and pole arms, all kinds of combat that you can do as long as it stays within safety parameters that the SCA has developed over decades and decades to try and make sure that everyone can kill their friends and not hurt their friends. Bash?
If you have any interest in the history of rapier and SCA and the rapier and I really enjoy talking about it. I know Orazio also does a lot of
Yeah. So there's a
yeah. We all love and pretty passionate about this.
Yeah.
That's something we're curious about.
Alan remembers when rapier rocks were soft.
And so the third bucket is missile combat. And so that is target archery, where we use, period, long bows, recurve bows, or crossbows, no compound bows. Thrown weapons, where it is done with axes, with knives, with spears, all kinds of ways that they set that up. And then there is missile combat that can be done alongside the chivalric combat. And so that is combat archery, where you have to use a lower weight bow, and it has a big, solid, round end so that nothing can get through any bars on anybody's mask or anything like that. And also siege, where people will use ballistas and be shooting PVC pipe and foam missiles at people, and trebuchets where they're throwing groups of tennis balls, and it's a ton of fun. So we have both individual combat or in target archery, where it will be sort of points where you are competing by yourself. But then also for rapier and chivalric, we do group melees. And so it is not only one-on-one at larger events that we call wars. There can be hundreds of people on each side, and you have generals and local commanders, and people are trying to roll flanks and the combat archers have shields that they're hiding behind, and they pop out and try and get the spears, which the spears don't like. And so we're always dipping and dodging, and then we get hit. But so a lot of fun to be had in the martial community. You're like, boy, that sounds like a lot of movement, and I'm not here for that. That is okay, because the SCA has things for you too. The next big bucket is the arts and sciences. And so this is really anything else from pre-1600. So if you want to try your hand at calligraphy or making or illuminating manuscripts, we do that. If you want to try your hand at pewter or bronze or any kind of casting, we do that. If you want to try your hand at insert thing, there's this big board that one person made that just lists out all the different things that you can do in the SCA, and it is not all-encompassing, but it is a board where the script is about this tall, and it goes like that wide, that tall, of just listing things. So a ton of different activities to do in the arts and sciences. We have local guilds that can help you get started. But if you don't see something that you're interested in and you have a passion for listed in the guilds, just let us know, because there's probably someone locally who does it. We just haven't got meetings together because sometimes we can be a bit scatterbrained. And so, or there's just a lot of things on the calendar because we like doing a lot of things. And so we set up ad hoc events and can help you get connected to find that. And the last one is I like to lump together as service and community. So, the SCA can't function and put on events and stuff without people helping to make it run. And so we like to recognize people that do that. And so we have sort of an entire track of awards and recognition for people that are doing service, because we know how important it is for us to be able to have fun and do this as a hobby. And people are volunteering time because it's a hobby. But doing that service also gives you a great opportunity to spend time with people. And the SCA does make a big focus on creating community, allowing people to find their found family. And we'll have revels, so an entire day of events, and then everyone kind of heads back to their camps and people start hopping around camps, and there will be bardic circles, and there will be someone hosting a party, and there will be a big feast that someone helped cook doing the service all day, and people are helping serve, and they're doing that. But it gives people an opportunity to all gather together and enjoy the ambiance of the event. So, any questions before I move on? Excellent. I should pull my notes back out. All right.
When you say CNT, you're meaning cut and thrust, right?
Cut and thrust. Yes. Thank you so much.
You started throwing out
yeah.
CNT, and I was
Yep.
like, and that means what now? So.
Absolutely. We can be bad about using SCA jargon. And luckily, Sigrun has a great guide that they brought that explains a lot of that jargon. But if you ever what is that? Just say, I'm new. What is that? Whether it's me or anybody. I don't know what you're talking about. Be like, that's on me. My bad. So, the known world. Like we said, the SCA is all over the place. And so really wanted to focus on all these little separate blocks of color, our different kingdoms. And this is Onsteora. Onsteora, meaning 1 star. We are very... Yes, that is our symbol. Yes, this right here. A sable mullet or star of 10 greater or lesser points. And we used it so much that they just call it the Onsteoran star now. So if you see this, it's talking about us. Within Onsteora, there are, check my numbers on this, 38.
In the range, yes.
Yeah, around 38 groups. Yeah, that's fair.
You're correct. That's how many I had to
Nailed it. So 38 groups. If it's a big city, we have a group. If it's a smaller city, we probably still have a group. And in our really big cities, we have multiple groups.
Houston has 3 or 4, right?
They had 3 or 4. It's now just the 2 baronies. Those baronies had cantons at one point, but they kind of brought them all back together.
What about DFW?
DFW has 2 baronies and also a canton. A canton, we're going to get into this. So the way that we break down the society, because it's hard to organize a whole bunch of people. And so within kingdoms, we have these various groups. There's a couple of different types of group. The biggest one, 28?
28, not 38.
Okay. Possibly 28. I don't know if that includes Vindheim, though.
It does.
Okay.
It's close.
Okay. Got it. 28 groups. I was off by 10. Our biggest groups are called baronies or provinces. Baronies have the largest requirement for membership and have a landed baron and baroness or baron and baron or baroness and baroness. that hold those lands in fief from the crown. And so we are, that's a great question. In fief means we're the stewards of the land for them. We are responsible for the land because they can't be everywhere at all times. A province is the same thing as a barony, except they don't have a baron and baroness. So those lands are directly responsible to the crown. We have one province. It is the province of Moonshadow, and it is all the way at the top of Oklahoma. And they like being special. They are, it's based around Stillwater, so Oklahoma State University. So they have a great group and constantly growing with a bunch of students. Underneath that are shires, and a shire is just an independent group that has less requirements for officers, doesn't have a baron or a baroness of any kind, but has enough membership to say, hey, we can throw events, we can make sure that we have all the officers that we need to run our own thing. We want to be a group. And then underneath that are cantons, strongholds, colleges, and there's a specific one for, I think, docks, which are for Navy bases. So canton is just a subgroup of a barony. So for instance, we have the canton of Glaslyn, which is a canton of the Steppes, and that is Denton around University of North Texas, and they are a subgroup of the Barony of the Steppes, which is Dallas. So strongholds, that is a canton, what is based around a military post that is landlocked. So the Barony of Bryn Gwlad has a stronghold that is Hell's Gate. That is the greater Fort Cavazos area, formerly Fort Hood, Colleen, Harker Heights, Coppers Cove, that area. And so we do a lot with them and support them, and they support us, and we love them very much. So every chance you can get to hang out with the Stronghold of Hell's Gate people, you should, because they are great.
Before you move from this.
Yes.
What is above Caid?
Above, so this is Caid.
Right.
It is southern. That is the Kingdom of the West.
That is
So-
San Francisco.
That includes San Francisco.
That's
Yes.
where it is.
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
Yeah. And there is a much higher resolution picture of this. Yes. So, and then colleges, it's based around a college. They are just smaller. They're not even a full sort of group in their own right. It's a way to unify a group. We used to have a college based around the University of Texas, but UT made it harder for non-students to be on campus and help drive that. And so we had a harder time keeping our population at the college going. Yeah. Any questions about the group structure for the SCA?
Isn't there one more area that's not on that map?
Oh, there is. There is one more area that is not on this map, and it is claimed by Onsteora on the International Space Station. There is an Onsteoran sticker. So we had an astronaut go up. A lot of Stargate in Houston is because we had a lot of members that worked for NASA. And so one of our members went up and claimed space for the Kingdom of Onsteora. Yes, Vash.
I know who it was. Doesn't Orazio also have the overall was it Gary? I'm pretty sure the moon is also on.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised because, again, the Barony of Stargate likes to slap stickers on things. The moon is also on
As is the South Pole, though we are in contestation with low active primaries.
Is
Yes.
there any South American participation?
So there is not any specific South American participation. Not that there couldn't be, but we are a sadly very English-based group, and so that has limited our ability to expand out to those regions. So.
Like
So.
Rio?
That would be fun. I'd love to go to an event in Rio.
Go to a-
Yeah.
Let's do a demo.
Stewart, Conquered South America.
Maybe not Conkers. Let's not say that. Let's not show up in our Western European garb and conquer South and Central America. That would be bad.
Let's put on Spanish garb and get
Let's not. So other reasons why we might not have expanded there. So finding your place in the SCA. So again, pointed out Vash, Twahal or Twill, Sigrun. These are your some of your Newcomers Academy committee members. Or there's myself and Colfina. If you have any questions, but anything you want to try, come ask us questions. We want to help you find your place. Yes, Vash.
Even if we don't have the answer, generally speaking, we know who to send to because they'll have the answer. And also, we love talking about the thing. That's something you'll notice in the SCA. It's hard to get us to shut up. So if you ask us a question, be prepared for like a whole introduction.
Yeah. There's a lot of neurodivergency in the SCA, and so we can info dump pretty hard, which you should always feel welcome to say, my cup is full. Thank you for all of this information. I would like a break. And so, yeah, I have held on to that since the first time I heard it when I was a college student and first joined the SCA. No more, please. But so we will be having more classes of the Newcomers Academy. They'll be focused on things like deep dives into the Marshallite community, deep dives into ANS, how you go about making your persona and your device and heraldry, how to really, tips and tricks for eventing, whether it's a one day or an overnight where you're camping, how to handle all of that. So more dates will be coming out. We're trying to figure out if we're going to be doing them here or somewhere else. So there's a little bit of scheduling things happening there. But so we will make sure it goes out on the website, the Discord, the Facebook. Stay peeled, whatever your source of truth that you prefer is. Everything goes back to the website. So always website will be the most accurate, but we will make sure the information goes everywhere. And find your place. Again, we mentioned all these various activities that we love to do, and that it's all in pursuit of the dream. That is a capital T, capital D, the dream, TM. And what does that mean in the SCA? It is that perfect crystallized moment where you are at an event, and it might be when you're called into court, or someone else that you know and love is called into court to receive an award, and you see them kneeling before the royalty and being spoken of and glowing words and receiving their award, and it's like you're in court. In the court of Charlemagne or wherever, or it could be on the battlefield or in a tournament when you're looking across the field at your foe and you're like, I am in combat. This is happening. Or that moment when you finish a project and somebody did it just like this. Or late at night and we're all around a campfire together and people are in their garb as we're all sipping on our beverage of choice and sharing stories and letting everyone know what we did during the day and just spending time together. That crystallized moment where this is where I'm supposed to be, and this can never be taken from me, and this is just like it might have been in period. That is the dream. Yes.
Because this is my history, I get emotional. But I want to say, last weekend, I walked into the dream. Children were running around in garb, giggling and laughing. People were in armor, not in armor. They were all in garb. They were all polite and gracious. I was the only thing out of place because I was dressed in mundane. And I just didn't took it in, and it was wonderful. So the representation out in the public last weekend was beautiful, beautiful. And it stopped me as I was passing by. And I saw the dream. I did. It was all flowing. So, yay. Yes, it was.
We did it.
Well, yes.
Excellent.
Welcome home.
And it made me look-
Yeah, welcome home. It's so great to have you back. I'm glad you saw us.
Just bravo, kudos, it was gorgeous.
Yeah. So were you at Queen's Champion at the event?
I was.
Awesome. Yeah.
And I saw you. I don't remember you. I did talk to you, but I don't remember. You were
Yeah,
there
I was
probably.
helping with the live stream, so I was a little more mobile.
Yeah, and I talked to Jay and a few
Yeah.
people that I talked to Jay as well. I did. She's
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I
don't
will.
remember all the people that took me around, and I was there for about an hour, hour and a half, just observing. And I got to see the rapier,
Mhm.
you know,
Would you mind if I share your words with the Shire of Finnegat? They're the ones who put on
that's
the
what I
event.
want to tell you about there,
Awesome.
because there are times when our associations that we join in our lives discipline us. It was an embarrassment that day. This was better. I was only there for a piece of it, but it was just beautiful.
Yeah, they did an amazing job putting on that event.
And
So.
I've taken up now the.
Oh, you're good.
I do all the other things, but.
Yay!
Jeff introduced me to it. Would you like to? Yeah.
So, if you take a look at our local calendar, we have all kinds of stuff during the week. Those guild meetings and fighter practices and all that kind of stuff are 99% out of garb. Garb meaning period-esque clothing. And we're doing all that to practice our craft and learn what we would need to do to go to a weekend event. That is where typically the dream happens. That's what we live for in the SCA. But if you can only be involved at the local level, we are super excited to have you come out to anything that you can. We also do some garbed events during the year, during the weekday. So we'd love for you to be as involved as you can be. Yes, question, Sarah?
When you say out of garb, you can dress in normal clothes.
I mean, you can dress in normal clothes. It is like this. Yeah, normal clothes is normal for you. You dress in what you want. Yes, Vash.
If you ever need a ride to guild meetings, fighter practice, events, any sort of thing, I promise if you just reach out, there are dozens of people who are going to be helping that's getting where you need to go. I am one of those people. I'm more than happy to take anyone on if you need to go. We also at events do have loaner garb a lot of the time. So if you're like, I'm afraid to go to my first event because I don't have anything to wear, not a problem.
Excellent segue. Thank you so much.
Before you segue, if you do need rights to things, just in general, more notice is better, especially if you're posting on Facebook, because the algorithm doesn't necessarily tell everybody about it right away. So if you get a little bit of lead time, it'll be more.
Yeah, this is a great one that I'm going to repeat for posterity. If you need a ride to something, there are people all over the Barony that would love to help you get to the event that you want to get to. More notice is more better to make sure that they can make arrangements as needed, but please don't let the travel be a limiting factor for you trying to get involved. Can't promise it'll always happen, but I can dang near promise it'll happen. But you want to go to your first event, but you don't have any, you're brand new. What do? What should you expect? So as Vash said, if you don't have garb, there is loaner garb available. We call it gold key. So if you hear someone referring to gold key, that is the loaner clothes. And those are maintained by our chatelaine, or some people will still be calling it hospitler. We're transitioning the name locally. Our kingdom chatelaine, which I made that mistake earlier, calling him the hospitler, is
I haven't
thankful.
announced it yet, it's fine.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. But our local chatelaine maintains that. If they are not available to get it to you, I guarantee that someone in the Barony is going to throw clothes at you so that you can come to the event.
Almost all of the art that I have been in almost all of the art that I have because I've been sewing is stuff that has just been handed to me. People being like, I don't wear this, I don't do this, you can wear take it. So even beyond Gold Key, it is not unlikely that you will end up with a lot of stuff.
I have so much spare garb, unique garb.
Yeah. So, and also, sometimes people get this impression that's like, oh, but I have, I don't have shoes that look right. They're too modern, or I need glasses to see, or these are questions I've been asked, or I have mobility issues and I need a mobility device. All of these are completely fine and encouraged. The requirement is to make an attempt. An attempt can be, we throw a tabard on you, and now you've made an attempt, and now go have fun.
Well, and that goes for piercings, tattoos, colored hair. Like, I show up with this. And that's perfectly, you don't have to change who you are to be in that SCA.
Yeah, you do not have to change who you are to be in the SCA. So yeah, whatever you have going on is already good. Keep it. We love it.
We're the Middle Ages as they should have been.
Yes.
This is anachronism, right? Just like we have anachronistically brought the Middle Ages to here, we bring bits of here back to the Middle Ages.
Wait, we have a
Yep.
machine?
Yeah.
I struggled on Saturday because I'm very light sensitive,
Mm-hmm.
and I was walking around with just glasses because I know that's a thing, that's acceptable.
Mhm.
But I spoke to someone, I said, I really need my shades on, because some people could have a problem. And
Yeah.
I wear transitions.
Yeah. There.
Prescription.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and here's the thing. If anybody ever fusses at you about something you're wearing or doing at an event, please come let one of the people that I pointed out, or just really anybody with a hat on, know, because it's unacceptable behavior, and I will. Yeah, go ahead.
The hat refers to any sort of crown or
Yeah.
Yes.
like that.
Yeah. Hat refers to something what looks like a crown. We're going to talk about it more at a future class. But yes, don't be intimidated by pointy pieces of metal. We all go home and poop on the same toilets. So you are going to your first event. What do? There will be a place called Gate. So pretty much all of our weekday activities are free. Our weekend activities do have an admittance fee. It's how we pay for what we do throughout the year, and also pay for the site, what we're holding it at. That will be where you pay for entry into the event. If you are a member of the SCA, it is $10 less at gate to enter the event. So pretty quickly, it can become worth it if you're going to several events. To get a membership is not required to participate in anything at the SCA. You'll just have to sign a waiver saying, stabbing people can be dangerous, or I know that walking across the ground can lead to a sprained ankle, et cetera, et cetera.
How much is a membership?
A membership currently is $55.
And then,
Yeah. Yeah.
You go through an event every other month and come with it.
Yep.
is that annual? Is that-
No, more than that now because they just raised the non-member fee events.
To 10. So they have options. They do not have a reduced amount for subscribing for a longer period of time. They do have a family max. I don't know it off the top of my head. So if you so 5 individuals. So if you have a larger family, you don't have to pay for memberships for every single one of them. 5 is the max. There is also a family max at events for entry. Yes, Sarah.
So I was just looking up memberships for me and my sister, and it was $55 for the initial one, and then if you have family members that live with you and reside at the same address, it's an additional $15. for each one, and then there's a maximum total for that.
Got it. Okay, so $55 for the first one, additional 15 for residents of the same household. Perfect.
Technically, if you can't swing 55, there is also the associate membership at 40. The only real difference is an associate member cannot purchase the periodicals that the SCA publishes.
Yes.
Your uncle's in this.
Let's come back around to it because we are officially under the clock. Somebody could come in and start hitting pool balls whenever they wanted. But so once you get into gate, there is going to be some sort of central area where they will hopefully have a schedule listed with the activities for the day. If not, there will be wherever the court is going to happen. So general structure of an event. At the beginning of the day, we will have an opening court. Court is where announcements are made, awards are given. It's the pomp and the circumstance of the event. So there will be opening court. Should be posted on schedule, but it usually happens somewhere between the 9 and 10 o'clock time frame. And then you'll have all your day of activities. So at a fighting event, that might be fighting. At a purely arts and sciences event, there will be classes and competitions. There might be all of the above. And then we will wrap up the day with a court. That is where the majority of awards will be given out. That's where any competitions that were held during the day will have the winners announced, all that kind of stuff. So there may or may not be food available. If the website does not tell you, or the Facebook event, whatever you're looking at, doesn't tell you, assume no. So whether that's bring your own food, plan to go off site, you can leave site and come back. That's no problem once you've paid your admittance. But things I would bring to your first event, if it is not inside, a chair, a vessel, a mug of some kind, and any medications that you need, sunscreen, bug spray if it's outside, anything that you need to be able to enjoy the day comfortably. So, but other than that, you should be good to go. Any must-knows from our established members that people need to have for their first event. And again, we're going to have a class that is like how to do events. So this is your get out the door. A hat is a very good one to have if it's outdoors.
This is not really a must bring, must have, but in general, my recommendation is that even if like you don't have a particular reason to be there, if you can attend court, try to.
Yeah.
There's lots of reasons why you can't. You could be late driving, you gotta go home early. Any number of reasons why you can't go to court, but like in general, if you're trying to decide, should I be there for court? Try to be there for court.
And if you are going to be there for court, come find us because we can whisper what's going on the entire time to help you know what's going on. Because that is a very jargony part of the SCA is court.
Bring your own tent for events or.
So if it is a camping event, tents are not provided. So you do need to bring your own tent. We have, or borrow or, crash in somebody else's tent. There's a lot of those kind of options. We have an event coming up this weekend up in, we don't. There is an event coming up this weekend that's going to be in the actual town of Canton. It's not a Canton, it's just in Canton. At the Canton Trade Days site that is called Steps Warlord. It's going to be east of Dallas. And that is a 3-day from Friday night through the end of Sunday event, since we're on Memorial Day weekend opportunity. So if you have any interest in trying to make it up, please come talk to Kofina and I. We're running an encampment for the Barony. So it's going to be warm, but there's shower sites available. There's options, and there is an indoor space as well. So you don't have to be outside the entire weekend. But if you have any interest in joining us, please come. Yes.
If you are ever at an event and you need any help with anything, find people with the hats, or if those of us that you see here are there, you are more than welcome. Once again, I love answering questions. I love being helpful. So if you need anything, you need to notify with things, you need to go to some of this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. People have had to generally either know what's going on or go in directions.
Another thing that's important to look for at events, if you see a green field badge with a gold key on it, a yellow key, right? That is the office of the hospitaler.
Chatelaine.
Chatelaine.
Yeah, green background, gold badge is the office of the chatelaine.
But that is all of our recruitment and retention officers.
Yes, and that is our recruitment and retention officers. So, all right, but we have listed, and we will post these slides, but some helpful resources. It's how to get connected to our various group Facebook pages, and how to get connected to our Discord. These links are also available on the Bryn Gwlad website. If you Google Bryn Gwlad and take a couple different stabs at how to spell that, but it is BRYN space GWLAD, then it will be the first thing that pops up. And there are a couple different ways to find our social media from there. Yes.
Easier if you can Google for Austin SCA.
That's true. Austin SCA. Austin SCA is a much smarter way to do that. I don't know why I don't think of that each time. But yeah, so that is the end of the official presentation. Does anyone have any questions?
On camera.
All right. Well, now we can just mingle, but thank y'all, and I appreciate it.